Okay, sentence corrections. Whenever we see a sentence correction question, first thing we think about is go right to the underlined portion. What are they testing? Again, you have modifier, subject verb, agreement, tense, comparison, idioms. Also lists. So think about, in this question, what's being tested. In the underlined portion, I see a comma and I see outnumbering. So I immediately think modifiers. Whenever we deal with modifiers, some things to think about. One, can I easily and clearly identify what is being modified? The easiest way to do that is to bring the modifier as close to what it's modifying as possible. Usually it's right before it or right next to it, so as close as possible. If you see that the answer choices, all of the answer choices have the subject and the modifier very far from each other, like they have the subject and then they have a bunch of fluff and then they have the modifier all the way over here, is the modifier clearly linked to the subject that it's modifying? That's what we have to look for. Something else that I notice in this is the comma ing. Comma ing means that this is modifying the verb immediately before it. So with that in mind, we need to know, does the verb need to be modified? Can this, and does it make logical sense that this verb, this action, is modified this way? So the question says, Emily Dickinson's letters to Susan Dickinson were written over a period beginning a few years before Susan's marriage to Emily's brother and ending shortly before Emily's death in 1886, outnumbering her letters to anyone else, right? So in 1886, then you have the comma, outnumbering. So that first thing, outnumbering, comma, ing, that means it's modifying the verb. So the verb that's immediately before it is ending. So what's ending? Emily's brother? Before Susan's marriage to Emily's brother. So the marriage and ending shortly, outnumbering her letters. That just doesn't even make any sense. So the marriage is not outnumbering the letters. That doesn't make sense. So anything that has outnumbering is incorrectly modifying this verb ending. So take them all out. So what's the subject of the sentence? Emily Dickinson's letters. The letters. Letters are the subject of the sentence. So I need letters to do something. Letters needs to have a verb. So Emily Dickinson's letters to Susan Dickinson were written, so when we eliminate the outnumbering, we're eliminating A, C, and D, which leaves us B and E. So Dickinson's letters to Susan Dickinson, B says, were written over a period that begins a few years before and ended, so that begins and ended. Well, if we're talking about the past, it would be that began. So B is using the wrong verb tense, describing when the letters were written, so that's out. So E's left. Emily Dickinson's letters to Susan Dickinson, comma, which, and that which is referring to the letters, which were written over a period beginning a few years before Susan's marriage to Emily's brother and ending, so we have beginning and ending, so we have the balance there, shortly before Emily's death in 1886, comma, outnumber. So now letters has the verb, because letters is the main subject, outnumber is the modifier and also the verb. So that is why E is the right answer.